Hey, how's it going YouTube? This is Devin coming back at you with another video today in PubStomp MTG, and in this video today I'm going to be discussing Tarkir Dragonstorm, and this is my most anticipated set of the entire year for Magic the Gathering for 2025. Though it is hard to say because Spider-Man looks very enticing for me. I think that's definitely almost tied with Tarkir, but Tarkir is what really got me into Magic the Gathering. That's when I first started to play, and honestly I loved the art direction of it. And many of you know I'm a Tarkir stan by heart, so of course I am super excited about this set. And to kind of give you a look at 2025, I don't know if I'm very excited about Aether Drift, Final Fantasy, Edge of Eternities. That one could be kind of hit or miss for me. Spider-Man I'm very excited about, and the Mystery Universes Beyond, I'm not sure what to expect. There are some people speculating that it actually might be a Lord of the Rings Hobbit set, which can be very enticing because of course you can reprint some cards from the Lord of the Rings set into that set. But of course that is speculation and we have no idea what it's going to be. And that does bring me to my next point. With a lot of these cards that I'm going to talk about today, I have no idea what's going to be reprinted in Tarkir Dragonstorm. These are just speculation based off of what sets are coming out and what was reprinted recently. Some cards that you should pick up for yourself before Dragonstorm appears. I will also be discussing Tarkir Dragonstorm and some of the news that we've seen in the past, what to expect, and basically a little bit of the story. This is one I'm very excited for. Again, I cannot wait for this set. So in this video, I will first discuss some cards that you should pick up for Dragons, and later on I'll just talk about Tarkir and how much I love it and some speculation around the storyline. So without further ado, let's get it started. And if you are looking for any of these cards, make sure to use my TCG player affiliate link down below in the description if you look to order any of these singles. Also, I do have a Patreon if you want to support the channel a little bit further. Definitely go check that out as there's a lot of different tiers and options for you. Alright, before I start this, I just want to apologize for the white light on the screen. I know it's pretty bright. I'm trying to turn into dark mode, but it won't happen. Besides that point, let's talk about the first card, and that's Udvara Hellkite, and this is a pretty safe pickup at a lot of affordable prices. This is an absolutely insane card in a dragon deck. This is one I don't see them reprinting because it was just reprinted in Ravnica Remastered and also a Secret Lair drop. I mean, they could put it in a special guest slot, which a lot of these options that I talk about today could be potentially reprinted in. It's a safe pickup range. I mean, the cheapest option is like $2. I mean, that's pretty good, but that might just be a damaged copy. I love the Ravnica showcase frame and also the anime treatment. These are excellent choices. Obviously the pimped out versions are going to be a little bit more, and these are a safe pickup because of course this is a pretty powerful effect for 8 mana. I know that's a lot for a dragon, but again, you're playing dragons, most likely they're all going to be expensive anyways. Whenever a dragon you control attacks, create a 6/6 red dragon creature token with flying. You just flood the board with a bunch of dragons. This is an excellent choice, especially because they're huge. They're 6/6s. This is definitely one that's safe and will definitely boost the power level of any dragon deck to come. So next up is Hellkite Tyrant. This is another card from Ravnica Remastered that was just reprinted recently. This used to be like a $20 card, believe it or not, but this has a very powerful effect. When it deals combat damage to a player, gain control of all artifacts that player controls, and at the beginning of upkeep, if you control 20 or more artifacts, you win the game. So if you're in a treasure theme with all those dragons, this is one way to win the game essentially. And plus it's another one that's very affordable, where it's at the $4 to $5 range, very similar to the Udvara Hellkite. Plus it has a very cool anime treatment that I think is absolutely amazing. It shows that it's around the $3 range. Of course, if you want to get the foil, it could be a little bit more pricey. Yeah, it looks like it's around like the $19 range, which used to be the original price, but obviously there are some other ones that are closer to the $15 range. But speaking of treasure, why not talk about Cavern Horde Dragon? This is another excellent choice. There's a couple different printings. There is the extended art, there's the Showcase Scrolls art, which is the most expensive one, and then there is the regular one around $7 to $10. This one is a fantastic choice because it can be reduced based off the number of artifacts and a player controls, so basically just 2 red mana. As Flying, Trample, and Haste, and when it deals combat damage to a player, you create a treasure token for each artifact that player controls. So I feel like this could be a safe one. It could potentially be in a special guest slot or even in the actual set, because Cavern Horde Dragon is not necessarily a Lord of the Rings selective kind of card like Gandalf would be, where you're not going to see Gandalf in another set because Cavern Horde Dragon has a generic name. But this is just another outlet to just produce a lot of treasure to cast a lot of other dragons, especially in mono red. And then moving forward, let's talk about Old Gnawbone. This is another choice that has a lot of printings, honestly. It has the Secret Lair drop, it has a borderless option, it has a promo, a list reprint. There's a ton of options for it. The lowest price around is like $33 for market price and $34, so obviously it's a little bit more expensive compared to the other options that I mentioned previously. But this is another one that deals with treasure, but in a very big way. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, create that many treasure tokens, which can be absolutely ridiculous. If you have a big giant board, you're just gonna be making that much treasure. This one I don't really necessarily see see them getting reprinted unless if it's like in a secret lair, even though it was already in a secret lair, or again, it could be in a special guest. But I like this pick mainly because it does have the IP of Dungeons and Dragons. Most likely it's not going to be a high target reprint because they would have to license that again unless they do like a different skin, but most likely they wouldn't because it doesn't have the Universes Beyond tag. And you can really apply that to any dragon that is from Dungeons and Dragons. For example, Ancient Copper Dragon, this could be a safe pickup even though it is a little expensive, and honestly I really hope they reprint this card. This one is really expensive for what it's worth. I feel like it should be like maybe even a $20 card, but the fact that the lowest price is 67, 65, 77 on market price is quite ridiculous for the price of it. But it has a very powerful effect when it deals combat damage to a player. Roll a d20, you create a number of treasure tokens equal to the result, so very similar to Old Gnawbone, but you're using a d20 to get treasure, like Ancient Copper Dragon, Ancient Silver Dragon, Ancient Brass Dragon, and Ancient Gold Dragon. I'm trying to remember the last one, but it's really escaping me. But obviously Ancient Copper Dragon is probably the best one out of the bunch. That's why I wanted to focus on this one. But now let's focus on Wrathful Red Dragon. This is another card that's pretty cheap and pretty affordable. It's around that 149 range on market price for the cheapest copy. This one is great in a Dragon's deck because whenever a dragon you control is dealt damage, it deals that much damage to a target that isn't a dragon, so that's perfect. People don't want to remove your dragons with a burn spell or maybe even block in for combat damage. So either way, this is an excellent choice. Very good in a dragon-based deck. And speaking of synergizing with dragons, Scourge of Valakut, this is another great option. It could be reprinted in a precon. Usually, typically, they're going to be reprinted in a lot of precons that involve dragons. But I mainly wanted to focus on the Secret Lair version because it looks incredible. As you can see, it's been rising little by little, and I'm not sure why. Dragons are not really the main focus on any of the previous sets, but maybe people are already thinking about Tarkir. Again, this is way in advance. I'm in November right now when speaking about this, but this is an incredible art piece. I have one myself, and obviously it focuses great with dragons because whenever Scourge of Valakut or another dragon enters the battlefield under your control, it deals X damage to any target where X is the number of dragons you control. Especially if you have a Udvara Hellkite, this could be extremely dangerous, and it does have a fire breathing effect, giving itself +1/+0 until end of turn by paying into that red. So this could be a win con in your deck, especially if you want to get the pimped out version. The same can be applied for Terror of the Peaks. And many of you already know this is one of my favorite cards of all time. I love the effect of whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, Terror of the Peaks deals damage equal to that creature's power to any target. This is such a big splashy effect. I love this card so much. Of course, it has a couple different printings from Outlaws of Thunder Junction and Core Set 2021. It also has that one tournament card. I'm trying to remember what it looks like, but I remember it got reprinted there. But I think that card's pretty hard to get, by the way. But again, this is one of my favorite effects in Commander. Just blasting a bunch of damage in the face of opponents is something I love to do, and it can be a great win con in your dragon decks. However, I do want to warn you, this could be reprinted in a special guest slot. Alright, so now that I've talked about some of the dragons that I would pick up personally myself, now let's focus on my tinfoil hat theories. Alright, so I guess the biggest thing for me is the fact that Ugin is going to be on this plane specifically. He hasn't been seen since War of the Spark, which is quite a while. And of course, the big reason is he's looking after Bolas in prison in that spirit realm thing. I forgot what it's called. But just the fact that Ugin is now traveling to another plane, he's leaving Bolas to himself. I wonder what Bolas is going to be doing on that plane. Is he able to escape? Who knows? That's just one thing. I could see, because it's going to be a Dragonstorm arc, maybe Bolas could escape somehow and we have a whole new set or multiple sets fighting Bolas again, which I think would be pretty cool. I do like the Bolas storyline, even though I don't necessarily think it's going to happen for a couple of years for sure. This is just a little one, just something I just thought about. And let's dive into this next image with the Abzan facing another army that looks like it could be the Abzan taking control by whatever is on their chest plate. Either way, this is really cool imagery. If you could see in the middle, there's like a spirit fighting another thing. So obviously, I don't know too much about what's going on here. It just looks like a big giant battle, and maybe battles are returning then. And next up, it looks like there is a monk in the Jeskai clan that's using fire in their fighting style. So maybe they could go to the Jeskai color combination. So that would be pretty neat. Again, nothing too much to speculate here. However, this is the big one that a lot of people are speculating on. I've seen so many different theories. So far, it looks like there's 6 total dragons, maybe even 7. Some people are speculating that in the middle of this is Lumbra from Bloomburrow, and maybe some of these other cards are probably from Bloomburrow too, like the snake. But if anything else, it looks like these dragon-like things are going to be trying to take over Tarkir against the other dragons. It looks like this one on the top left is going to be a Temur color combination, the next one Mardu, and then the Abzan, Sultai, and Jeskai. I'm not sure. This looks like a dragon on the far top right. Maybe it is. Maybe it's just one that's just kind of just in the wind. Either way, it's cool. I like how there's a lot of different things going on in this imagery. It looks like like these people are trying to summon this. And if you notice on the far right, it looks like Zergo is also trying to summon these dragon-like things to maybe even fight the other dragon lords. Either way, really cool imagery. I'm super excited about this one. This looks absolutely breathtaking. So with all this said, that's going to do it for me, guys. Thank you guys so much for coming by and watching this video on some cards that you should pick up before Dragonstorm comes its way. I feel like it's going to come a lot faster than people realize, and this is one of my most anticipated sets of 2025. Let me know down below in the comments, which set are you most excited for, and what other dragons do you feel like are worth mentioning? And if you can, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. With that out of the way, thank you for stomping by.